got your radio DVR right here on KCAAradio.com. Log on and listen to any show you want, anytime you want, on KCAA 1050 AM.
You're listening to the Inland Talk Express, 1050 AM and 106.5 FM, KCAA Loma Linda.
15 days, hot, cold, and mostly hot, but that's California for you. And actually, it's hot all over the country, so hopefully it'll get better, and that's the way it is. Mm-hmm. Anyway, we have a fun show today. No special guests or anything. We're going to be talking about a couple of things that have happened to us recently, and just some thoughts on basically what it takes to be a food critic. A lot of people have asked me over the years, and we've been talking about it every once in a while, but it's time to reiterate in terms of what we think, what I think, and Izzy thinks. I'm not sure what her views are, but I think we're a lot similar. And what it takes to be a good food critic. And in reality, everyone's a food critic, but are they really good and they really knowledgeable? But that's a different matter. But we're going to start off with kind of a confession. As you know, I hate fast food. I hate chain restaurants. So what did I do? We ate at two fast food chain restaurants. Well, one fast food restaurant.
It's been a while, so you kind of need to make a circle around and try different things, especially when it's either late night, which choices are slim. Usually independent restaurants are not stayed open late.
Right.
And also they're on extreme temperature days. A lot of times, I have to say, a lot of independent restaurants, either the AC is not up to par. So, sometimes you just have to...
Things happen.
Yeah, sacrifice and go try something new.
So we tried a couple of things. They weren't really new, but we've had some little problems and everything. So let's get right into it. Uh-huh. I like wings. Izzy likes wings. And we decided to go to one of her favorite spots. What is it, Izzy?
Wingstop.
Wingstop. Now, they're all over the country. And the one she's been going to primarily was one in Norco, Corona. Mm-hmm. But you've been to a lot of different places. Wherever you go, that's your go-to place,
well, it's late at night, and, there's nothing better to eat, really. They're, running out of choices unless you go through a drive-through at, the normal chain restaurants, fast food places. Really, this is the alternative. So, that's what I defer to when I'm traveling or sometime desperate.
Yeah, well, sometimes we are desperate, and the same thing goes with money. Sometimes you only have a couple dollars. Well, it used to be you have a couple dollars you can go somewhere, but now everything's expensive.
Now, I think didn't we go through a drive-through somewhere? We're desperate for food, I think, one day, and we're short on time, and it was like $20.
Yeah, it was almost $20 for two. Yeah, for something really mild.
Yeah,
really simple. So.
Really simple. Wasn't a combo meal. It was very basic stuff, and I thought, oh my God, this is overpriced.
Yep. So, anyway, went to Wingstop, and it was about 10 o'clock, 10:30, and we were both starving. We had nothing in the house, so we decided, okay, we're reluctant, but let's do wings. So we ordered the small. It was 10 wings and fries, I think, for $19.99 with tax and everything. And we waited. First of all, you go online on their app and you make the order, and everything's made to order, which ideally is fantastic. I mean, it's a good thing. However, it takes anywhere from 45 minutes to an hour. It took over an hour, almost an hour and a half to get the food. Mm-hmm. I finally drove down there. It was around 11. It was 11:30 at night when I finally got it, and I brought it home. And I started eating actually before Izzy. Izzy had a couple of things she had to do, and my mouth was hurting. I mean, I was chewing and chewing and chewing, and nothing against beef jerky, but this is supposed to be freshly made wings, chicken wings, and the parts of it. And I found them to be just terrible. I didn't want any, but I snuck a couple of fries in. They were limpy as can be. They were kind of undercooked. So I felt one was overcooked and one was undercooked. The fries were undercooked. Then Izzy started to eat it, because usually when I say something, she'll complain. And what do you know? Yeah, you're wrong. It's very mild. This time around, she goes, "Is this a little crispy to you? A little hard to eat?"
No, I was asking you, is this like jerky to you?
So my eyes lit up. I'm like, yeah. And what were your thoughts? I just thought it was horrendous.
I just threw them all in the trash. I'd rather just not eat at that point.
I think
It's
we
like,
had maybe two. Try to come down with 2 or 3.
yeah, I think we tried two, and I figure, maybe it's a fluke. Yeah, one piece or whatever, different flavors. Maybe it's a different batch. They overcooked it. I try to give people benefit of doubt, and jerky and more jerky. And I'm like, okay, what is going on with this? It's like, I just never had chicken so tough in my life. And usually chicken wings are never that tough. And it was like, good gosh. I mean, it was hurting my teeth. And I was just like, you know what? It's going to go in the trash.
Now, most of the time, would you say the chicken that you've had has been good? Chicken wings?
Yeah, I mean, it's okay. I mean, it's a, usually, okay, even if their chicken is, like if it's a mismark, their fries usually are really good. I mean, they usually have really good seasoning, and I always order extra seasoning. But even that they miss, and then there weren't extra seasoning. So it was just all around bad. And, $20 later, it's like, go in the trash. And I was still hungry, and I was just mad and went to bed.
Yeah, well, so did I.
That's that's deal.
I was dreaming about it all night, and next day I went on to social media, and surprise, I got a lot of comments, and almost 99%, if not more, were negative, saying the same thing. It's trash. They don't go there. It's the worst one. And I guess my question was, doesn't anyone at Wingstop care about the food they put out? I called corporate, and I always do. I'm not one to just complain. I really try to go to the top, whether I can find out the owner. And I don't believe in going to see a manager. I just don't believe management, especially nowadays. I don't think they're caught up with a lot of situations, short of staff and everything. And I just don't think they're the ones that make the changes. I think the owners should be the ones that should know about it, the ones who are putting up the money. And of course, it was late. I called there, and they couldn't give me any information. So obviously, they have problems with staff. They don't know who the manager is. But so I called corporate, and she was very nice about it. And they said they'll call me. I told them, made sure, please call me. I just want to not complain, but just let them know what's going on. Mm-hmm. And of course, it's been over a week, and they haven't, so I don't expect them to. But I was really shocked how many people said it was horrible. And my friend Rob, who used to be my producer for my old radio show, reminded me, we went out with some Super Bowls about 6 years ago. We tried, I believe, Buffalo Wings, Wild Wings, I think it's called.
Oh, gosh.
And what was the other one? And Hooters. We did the whole thing on just talking about wings. And Hooters was by far the best. And the worst was Wingstop. So I forgot about that one. But it just surprised me. Why do people eat that? Is eating late at night, you're hungry, is that better than eating junk food?
I think so, because the slim pickings at that time of night, and choices are very limited, so it really is down to, wherever you can get your hands on. So yeah, I mean, it wasn't cheap because it's like $1, at least $1 something a wing.
It was more now. It's $20 for everything.
So I mean, it was pricey for what it is, and for them not doing it right, that was disappointing to me. And this is the first time I have to say, I've had other Wingstops, and even gotten cold, I can toast it up and it'll be decent. Even the fries, right? I could toast it up and it tastes decent. But some reason, this is just the whole entire thing was missed. So
didn't it seem like it was I thought it was like someone ordered it and they didn't come for it. So they just like, ooh, let's go to the next guy. He just gave it to us.
Yeah, I mean, because they quoted a time ready an hour, and then you showed up an hour, waited for it for another 30 minutes. So it's like an hour and a half later. So it's kind of like, okay, hour and a half later. I mean, if you waited for it, it should be fresh, shouldn't it?
Yeah.
So it's just really surprising, I think.
The other thing too, which I'm not sure if I mentioned to you, there was two people there. Neither one were smiling. When I came, I mentioned my name. They just kind of gave it to me. They didn't say hi, thank you for coming out, whatever. Can I get you anything else? It was like the morgue. It was like eating in a morgue.
I think that's the going rate with customer service. It's like a morgue. It's like nobody smiles. It's like they hate the world, and I don't even know why they show up at work if they hate the world. Because, I think when you're working, no matter what your job is, at least be pleasant. Because, you might be having a bad day, but everybody around you don't need to feel or hear about your bad day.
Right.
I mean, that's my opinion. Everybody has their
Speak-
own opinion, but like I never, like, even I'm having a horrible day, I show up my work. I'm professional. It's not anybody else's fault that I'm having a bad day. So
Especially, it's called the hospitality industry, and but speaking of that, this is the next segue into. We had dinner somewhere. It was between lunch and dinner.
Yeah.
And again,
It was an off
we didn't
time.
eat all day, off time, which I think we got to work on. So we went to another restaurant that you seem to like in the past.
Well, consistency. It's like, sometimes you go to a chain because, like, consistently they're decent.
It was Red Robin.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, their foods, I really haven't had any food that's amiss there. And if it's a miss, they always fix it right away. Usually service is even when there's nobody around. You sit in the bar, usually you get good service, decent service.
I mean, how can you screw up a burger? And it was okay. I mean, mine was okay. It was supposed to be really, really hot and everything. It wasn't. But it was okay. I mean, I'm not complaining about that. But there was, I guess the process comes to down to the service or lack of service. And they had, I believe, 1 or 2 bartenders, 3 bartenders, servers. I'm not even sure what their positions were.
And there's only like maybe 4 tables, maybe less than that when we arrived.
Right.
I think there were like maybe 2 other tables or 1. And then as we're sitting there, everybody else get checked on, and we're sitting there, and I'm like, oh, all right, sitting there some more. And I'm just like, okay, it was like 100 and something degrees out. It was 110 degrees outside, I think, that day. I was thirsty and hungry, so I sucked down my drink, and I'm like waiting for my refill. Nobody showed up. Nobody checked on us. So I'm like, okay.
They passed by us many times.
You walk by us, everything. And I'm trying to get their attention. Nobody even glanced over. But I see other tables being checked on. And so I went up to a bar, which is only maybe 4 steps away. So we're not that far from the bar top. And handed them my glass and say, hey, I'm out. Can I get a refill? Okay. Well, the gal came by 3 times, reassured me I'm getting my refill. But 15 minutes later, I'm like, are you out in the fields picking strawberries or what's going on? Because it doesn't take that long to get some drink that's ready-made to a table. Seriously. I mean, like, if you have to reassure me 3 times that this item is coming, maybe you should go check on it yourself instead of sitting there. She was on the phone, texting, and whatever she's doing. And I'm just like, really? And I just don't get it. I do not get it. The bar top only had 1 other person sitting there. I think the max was 2 people I saw sitting there. And she wasn't attending to them either. So I'm just like, okay, I just don't get it. I don't get, if somebody asks for something, okay, get on the ball. I mean, if somebody came and asked for it already, it means you missed it, number 1. You didn't see it, because as a server or whatever, you should see that somebody's drink is getting low and refill it. The best servers I've had are the ones you barely halfway through, they already brought you the backup.
Yep.
So I was like, mine was blown, basically.
So you were already upset with that.
Oh, yeah.
Then we're ready to go. First of all, I ordered just plain iced tea. I mean, good old cheap iced tea. Never got refilled. I was done with mine because I gave a lot to Izzy to drink. She was very thirsty. Never got refilled or anything.
We don't have water either on the side, so it's not like there was other drinks. I was taking tablets, so I'm here like choking down tablet.
Plus, when we sat down, it was filthy, and you had to ask for it to wipe it down.
I know.
Remember that?
Right.
So I had to get up, and we were waiting and waiting at least 15, 20 minutes, and I got up and walked around the restaurant asking someone, can I get a box so I can bring home what we had? And he kind of looks at me like, huh? Like, why am I doing this for you? Anyway, he gave it to me. He was nice. And so he got it, and then we had a call for the bill. Then she comes over, hey, is everything okay? Anything I could do for you?
After I was paying for the bill. I'm like, okay, it's too little, too late, number 1. You should have asked me before I even got done with my food or checked on my food after I got my food. I mean, I just don't get it. I just don't get it.
And
Still
I,
don't get
the
it.
way I feel on when it comes to like tipping is to ensure proper service. I mean, basically, that's what it was set up to be. In the
Correct.
past, you pay people ahead of time to make you feel better. You know, make sure they do give you attention. Now that's a whole different meaning. But I realize that they rely on tips for their money, and I'm all for that. But with this one, I just thought it was so bad. I said no, I'm not going to leave anything.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, first of all, I don't think she'd even know in a way if I did. So, but I just felt like something. If she doesn't care about service, then why should I?
Mm-hmm.
That's me. Maybe I'm wrong, but that's the way I feel. And Izzy somewhat agreed. So then the manager came. Izzy on the way out talked to the manager, and we waited again for our check for the check to be paid and everything. And he came back. He gave her a refill.
Because I told him I need refills for both our drinks to go. Because like I said, it's 110 degrees outside, so just give me some drinks to go. Because we paid I think it was like $4 or $5 just for my drink, and it wasn't not alcoholic or anything. I don't drink alcohol. And then for the iced tea nowadays, going rate is about $3, right? $3.50. Yeah. So it's like, okay, $4, at least give one refill because we're sitting here, never got a refill. So, like at least one refill.
So he was nice enough to give her refill. He gave 2 of her refills. I had tea, so I couldn't even drink it. But it was like
none of his.
Yeah, it's okay. I was just by then. Then it was like no big deal. And then he gave us a $20 gift card. So
15.
Was it only 15? Okay. I thought that was at least a way to say I'm sorry. I thought that was a classy thing. That's one thing that restaurants don't do enough.
It pays for one of the meals.
Yeah, almost 2 drinks.
Yeah, exactly. So
anyway.
I'm like, okay, if you're gonna do that, then comp the darn meal, or comp something more than just $15. I know it's a chain, it's a franchise, or whatever it is, but if somebody come up to you and say they got zero service, basically, well, hello.
But don't people care anymore whether it's quality of food or even service? I mean, people still go to a restaurant. How many businesses, if you have a bad, you go to Walmart, you have a bad problem there with somebody, you still go back. With restaurants, normally if you have a bad problem, you don't go back. But now people still are going back more and more. And the cost of food has gone crazy. Not obviously, not just in markets, but also in restaurants. And even the simplest of things are very expensive now. So, you'd think they'd be even more eager to please you, because I'm sure a lot of people come in there and not accepting the prices, but they have no choice. But don't people care anymore? I guess my thing is I don't think people care anymore about service. I don't think it's a big deal to them anymore. And prices, they'll take whatever they give them. I mean,
that's what it feels like. It just feels like people are willing to just settle, I guess.
Mm-hmm.
And I understand it's a tough job, but we all have our quote unquote cross to bear. There are a lot of tough jobs out there. And lots of jobs are tough, don't get paid any tips. They don't get paid, you don't get extra thanks for their job either. Well done. And they're not getting paid that much more than everybody else. So, I just don't understand, you see people that can go to work happy and they have a crappy job, and then people that have a decent job and they just couldn't care less.
Yeah, and then we just went to another restaurant. Actually, I went this morning. We went a couple of days ago. It's called Bella and Yang. They're a Chinese restaurant, Chinese and sushi in Yucaipa. Very, very nice staff. The woman there in Bella is very nice and smiling and everything. And I'm like, how come we don't see that very often? It was just it's very enticing, very nice. It makes you feel, it's like when someone comes to your house for dinner, do you have the same face you do at work? Hi, how you doing? No, welcome. You welcome them. Well, that's the way it should be.
Well, I don't know. I think maybe either it's lack of training or people just don't care. I mean, I remember when I was starting out, when I was in school, getting my first job, and I had to answer phones. I remember there was a whole training on how to answer phones properly, and how to greet people. And you even say, like, over the phone, smile, because when you smile, people can tell on the other line. And you can tell if somebody's dragging their feet on this line or just hating life, or they're just smile as you talk, because people can hear it on the other side of the phone line too. So
Right. Definitely. So
hmm
anyway, we had a few issues this last week, but it could be worse. And
well, another pet peeve of mine I have to bring up is
Yep.
that if you show up at the restaurant and the condiments are all crusted, that really bothers me. I mean, not only of the tables and chairs should be clean, but if you have condiment bottles in this day and age, after COVID, you would think people would clean those darn bottles every time, which they should.
you're talking about crustiness, like at times, like hot sauces are still there, and it's dripping and ketchup and everything.
Yeah, yeah.
Okay.
I mean, like, it's dirty. You can tell it's dirty. You can tell there's like goopy things on the outside. It's been built up. It's not just recently goopy, but evenly recently goopy. Shouldn't you be wiping those things down? I mean, I thought that's what we went through this COVID thing, and all restaurants reassured all their patrons that they're wiping down the bottles, they're wiping down the surfaces, they're keeping their places clean. Well, I think that's slipping. I really think I'm seeing more and more that these things are slipping, and people are just not keeping up with it.
Yeah, I think again, some restaurants do it and some don't. So this is going on before then even. So
Yeah.
anyway, I want to let people know we've got a new sponsor. Very, very excited. I personally had an issue with that I took them to. It's called All Magic, and it's All Magic Paint and Body. They're located in Riverside, in Norco, in Fontana, and Moreno Valley.
Yep.
And my car was rear-ended for the second time not too long ago, and so it was about 2-3 weeks, and I knew the owner of All Magic, who I actually had worked with something else. He invested in some money in a restaurant, so I got to know him
Years ago?
many years ago.
Okay.
And anyway, so I decided to take it there, someone at least I know. And oh my goodness, I mean, you talk about on the ball. They called you, they text you every minute of the way. They let you know what's going on. Kind of like when you had service at Mercedes-Benz and Walters. They were fantastic. They would let you know every little thing. Same thing with All Magic. I mean, the quality is amazing. They made sure that everything's done. They were going to give it to me. They saw it and said, no, there was a couple of things they noticed. They wouldn't give back to me until they fixed it. And, when I got it back, you cannot tell the difference. It got a whole new everything. But they're there for you. And if you're short on a little money and you can't, if you have a deductible, they may even help you with it. They've done that to people. Same thing with they'll get you a rental car, so you don't have to go get it yourself. You just go there and they send you one, and they get you one and drop it off there. And it's just really first rate. And I'm just very, very impressed. So again, I want to thank them for being on the show and for helping me. That's number one. But other people too. It's not just me. It's all the other customers that were there.
Yeah, we've heard other people saying that when they went around get a estimate from paint and body shops, how nice their staff are, even at different locations. That they're so willing to go above and beyond, answer questions, and there was no pressure. If you want to bring your car there or not, they do give you the full service. And I thought, well, that's exceptional because, it seems like like I said, it's kind of now.
Nowadays, no one seems to care.
Yeah. I mean, customer service is dead, I think, pretty much. And so in order to see customer service, you either, go to a place like that, you're almost surprised because, a lot of times you expect, a lot of times car repair services aren't exactly the most, cordial places, but they are, so.
Yeah, so if you're not in an accident, but you just need body trim, something's wrong with your car, window doesn't work, whatever, they do it there. It's full service, everything. It's called, again, All Magic Paint and Body. There's 4 locations, and their website is allmagicauto.com. That's allmagicauto.com. Highly recommend that you go there, and I guarantee you'll be happy with it. I was extremely happy with them. And again, I don't ask businesses to be a sponsor if I don't like them, and I loved it, so that's why they're here. Another sponsor I want to tell you about is called Bowler and Bowler. They're a family law service. They're in Redlands, and they've been in business for over 50 years. It's father-son, Sean, and his father. And the bottom line is that they really care about you too, kind of like All Body. They really take the time to talk with you. The staff are amazing. They're friendly. They let you know if something's wrong or if you need something way ahead of time. They let you know the service, what's going on. They don't talk down to you because it can be really intimidating. It's stressful to begin with, any type of divorce or any problems with with children, when you're involved with a divorce or partnerships or anything like that. So anything to do with family law, they can handle. So I highly recommend. They've been very good to me. It's called Bowler and Bowler, BOWLER and Bowler.com. That's bowlerandbowler.com. They're located in Redlands, and they were recommended by people who actually lost to them, who who found out that they were really, really good in the wrong way, but they were very, very impressed with them, and just like I am too. So highly recommend bowlerandbowler.com. Then another business that we fell in love with, that we really like and we admire, and every time we've gone to them, and even if we sneak in, which I try to do all the time, they treat everybody the same. It's whether they know you or not. It's called Ray's ShanghaiBistro.com, and it's RUI_S ShanghaiBistro.com. It's in Redlands. Is it Tom or Net? I think I made a mistake just now.
I think it's Net.
It's Net. I'm sorry, .net. Yeah, I'm sorry. It's Ray's ShanghaiBistro.net. By far the best Chinese restaurant in our area. There's a lot of really good ones, but this one is very authentic. And nowadays, a lot of restaurants, they really dumb it down because most populations, they won't accept it. But they didn't. They really give it very authentic. And Izzy, again, who was born in Hong Kong, who knows Chinese food, you really liked it, and I think you appreciate their quality.
Well, the quality, it's not anything fancy. It's basically simplicity, and fresh. Freshness and simplicity, that's what, I kind of look for, I think, sometimes, especially when it comes to Chinese food. I think, you go to places and either it's been sitting there for a while, which doesn't taste right, like any other food. So I really enjoy their food. I especially love their orange peel beef, I think it's called, and the toothpick cumin lamb, and it's amazing. Their garlic spare ribs is amazing too. I mean, I've tried a little bit of everything there. They have like homemade dumplings from scratch, or goizas or whatever from scratch too, and they're very good. So I highly recommend the place. Yeah.
Plus the staff smile. That's the important thing.
And very efficient. I have to say, very efficient. They'll get your order. They'll get going. They'll get you stuff. They're always on top of things. Their phone number is 909-335-6770. Once again, 909-335-6770. And their website is www.rayshanghaiBistro.net.
And it's RUIS.
Correct.
ShanghaiBistro.net. So. Then the last one is Soaring Swine Acres in Yucaipa. Our friend Mary owns it, and her and her son, her family. And this woman, she never gets to sleep. All she does is think about new products to make.
I think she dreams recipes. What do you think?
I think so, too.
Especially every season, she comes up with something new that's seasonal. Because, she always go with the seasonal fruits that's readily available in our area. And she make things out of them. So I just think it's really neat that she supports the local farmers and local growers and ranchers, and create items that are actually so delicious, so unique. Because, what did we have last? I think like last fall we had something like a persimmon salsa.
Yeah.
I think that's what we had, right?
Yeah, they do everything. They do salsas,
so unique,
jams, jellies. They have a whole line of holistic teas and barbecue sauces, and they have by now
Pickles,
over 370 different
honey.
products. So, and they're all made small batches. So sometimes they run out, but if you let them know they want it, and as long as they can get it for you, they'll make it for you. But again, it's SoaringSwineAcres.com. That's Soaring, SOARING, SwineAcres.com. They're located in Yucaipa on California. As soon as you make a right on California, they're about the second store down on the right side. Beautiful little shop there, really cute. And they sell a lot of other things. Maddie's, she does some dog
treats. They do
stuff.
dog treats, little dog collar, like little bandanas.
CBD
they homemade
type of stuff we get.
Yep, for the doggies. And Mary's Soaring Swine Acres is located 12116 California Street, Yucaipa. And like I said, it's around the downtown area, 12116 California Street, Yucaipa. If you want to place an order, you can call them at 951-961-5279. But if you want to do it today, you better get over there because they do close an hour at 5:30.
And again, all of our sponsors, if we don't like them, guess what? They're not going to be on our show. So you can guarantee if you listen to me and Izzy and you believe what we're saying on our reviews and stuff, then you're going to like them. So, and we'll be coming up with more reviews. I promise. We're working on that right now. It's kind of hard sometimes with restaurants. They're now, some of them are closing, hours, lower hours, and or they don't have enough staff. So a lot of items that we go into a restaurant for, they don't have anymore, or they don't have until they hire more staff. So there are some issues that we're dealing with. But anyway, that's the way it goes with that. In the meantime, we're going to talk about what makes a good food critic. In a sense, everyone's a food critic because everyone's got an opinion. However, not all opinions are alike. Not everybody's created equal. Some people talk food, but they know nothing about it. They'll compare McDonald's with a high-end, hamburger at Fleming's, let's say, and which is totally inappropriate. I mean, there's a lot of issues you got to know. So these are some of the things that I think are important. And I didn't go through this with Izzy, so I'm not sure what she's going to say. So, but number one is the knowledge of food. I think they have to know what good food is. That's very important. I think, obviously, the more you eat, the more you try things, the more you know about the food. But I think you know if a food's on or not on, and I think that's important.
Well, a lot of people do try foods, and they go out to eat. And how does it make them not a good food critic? Because like, what if they go out to eat all the convenience stores and all the McDonald's, all the fast food joints, all the chain restaurants? What makes them not a food critic?
Well, no, you could be a food. If you go to the fast food exchange, those kind of thing. Is it fair for them? Do they compare apples to apples? That's my thing. I think to be a good food critic, you should compare apples to apples. Don't compare apples to cars or whatever. I mean, you've got to be on the same level, whether it's a small mom and pop, whether it's a high-end restaurant, whatever. I think that's really important because a lot has to do with quality of food. It's the quality of food at a higher-end restaurant in most cases is higher quality. You can't compare, Wagyu beef to a chuck steak or anything like that. So that's one thing.
But you think somebody that, what if they don't have a lot of life experience?
Then but they can be a food critic. Can someone who's very limited be a food critic? I say no. I say you got to have an open mind. Plus, a lot of people won't eat everything. That leads me to my second point. I think it's really important that unless you're allergic to something, and allergies, or you really can't, religious things or any other reasons, that's fine. I can understand that. But you should be able to try everything or want to try everything. How can you talk about something if you've never had it? And I use an example. When we first started out, we were in a situation where you tried bugs, and you said, "I'll never eat insects," blah blah blah. Guess what? You did, and I admire you for that. You tried it. You didn't. Actually, you didn't mind it that much. It wasn't that bad. It was just the idea of it. But
I hate bugs. I don't care if they're dead or alive. I really do not choose to touch them in any way. So I understand that people think it's very nutritious. I think if I'm stranded out in the wild and have no food, I might consider it at that point. But it's not a food of choice for me.
No, but you tried it, right?
Yes.
And that's all I'm saying. Same thing with sushi. I get more responses from sushi, I think, than any other thing. You mention sushi to people, and they go, "Ooh," they have that sushi, that face. And I'm like, "Have you tried it?" No. Oh, then how can you say that? Try it at least. If you don't like it, then fine. I agree. That's no problem with me. You don't have to like everything. I don't like everything, but at least try it. Agree with that?
I agree.
Okay, that's good then. Again, comparing apples to apples, don't you agree that the level of restaurant and the quality of food should be the same for everybody?
Yes and no. I mean, the sad thing is, like, online, people put their opinions up, and everybody has an opinion. So, you're definitely entitled to your own opinion. But if you have you have limited exposure to dining out or different types of food or different quality of food, then your review is kind of limiting. Like for me, if I read a review, I remember, this is a key example. I was in Utah, and I think in the middle of nowhere. And I was like, okay, well, I really don't feel like some fast food joint or some drive-through place. So what's locally? What do they have that's non-chain, right? So I'm looking on, on the internet, and some people raving about how great this little restaurant is for Mediterranean food. And I went there, showed up, ordered food, and I literally like couldn't even pleasantly eat it. I mean, it was okay. I mean, I wouldn't even say it's good. Um, the place was clean,
That's a good part.
and that was that. I mean, so sometimes those reviews, like you hear people say, "Oh, it's so great," and it's like, well, do you know what these people's backgrounds are, what their life experience are, what they've been exposed to? I mean, if you only been exposed to very limited stuff, and not authentic kind of food, then yeah, well, Panda Express is just as good, right? I mean, to somebody else when it comes to Chinese food, right? But it's very different. I think it depends on, what your experience is, right? I think it does build on that because you know, I remember going somewhere, I think somewhere I used to think, oh, the food's decent. And then probably 20 years later, I went back and I'm like, this food is not that great.
People do change.
People
taste.
change and their opinion change, and your life experience may change you in your opinion. So I think a lot of that has to be taken into factor too.
But also, don't you agree that a lot of people try the same foods always? That's it. I knew somebody who they judge an Italian restaurant by the spaghetti and meatballs because that's usually what they order. I'm like, wait a minute, that's so simplistic. You can't do that.
Well, plus that's the most simple food you can make, like get. I mean, a lot of restaurants don't even make their own meatballs spiced from scratch, so it's hard to evaluate, I think, with something like that.
And the dangerous part is, at least when you talk to someone like you who have opinions, is Yelp. Let's say, they don't realize what it can do to a restaurant. And I've seen so many cases where someone accused a restaurant of the food coming out frozen. They don't even have a freezer in their restaurant, or when the Kung Pao chicken didn't have nuts in it. And first of all, it was a Thai restaurant. They don't even have Kung Pao chicken, which is Chinese. So I think a lot of people just talk out of their rear ends. They don't. I think they want. A lot of them think that it makes them feel powerful. I think
they feel like they're valued. I think that's what's important.
And unfortunately, a lot of people feel that they just want free food. That's bottom line. If I tell them nice things or whatever, if you don't tell me nice things, I will write a bad review on you. I've had restaurants that actually told them that. I saw letters that someone wrote to them one time, text them. And
that's awful. I mean, it's like blackmail. Basically that's blackmailing people. And I don't think that's right either. So, I mean, I think, honesty is really the best thing to do. And,
well, that's the next
to
one.
know your limits. I mean, like if your limits is, okay, my limits is I've only eaten at Sizzler and McDonald's. Well, then I would definitely say that. In my experience, these are what I've been exposed to is these, and this is pretty decent, Mm-hmm. I mean, I think it's kind of important to show, what your experience are. I mean, kind of before you evaluate something.
There was a steakhouse in Redlands, and they cut their own beef. It was prime steaks. And it was a little bit ahead of its time in Redlands. They didn't have too many restaurants like that would serve that type of beef, quality food. And they grilled their own mesquite grilled right in front of everybody. And I thought the food was excellent. I thought the steak was really, really good. And some guy ripped the crap out of them, saying that it was overpriced. They'd rather go to Sizzler. And I'm like, wait, you're comparing Sizzler to an over... the steak costs $45, but look what you're getting. You're getting a quality steak and everything. So again, I don't think a lot of people even know what quality is. And I don't think they realize what it can do. It's just to make themselves feel powerful isn't a reason to become a food critic. That's the last reason I think you should be. If you feel that way, then you're not really a food critic and you're not very professional. You should be coming in there objectively. You should see what's going on. Things can happen. And you sometimes have to take... If you've worked in restaurants, a lot of people have never even worked in restaurants. But if you have, you kind of know what's going on. And if they're short of staff, you know the kind of pressures that it puts on people. So things may be a little off that night, And things happen. Okay, you forgive them.
Yeah, I understand when they're short staffed, and I don't think I've ever gone crazy on people because they're short staffed. Because whoever's there, they showed up, they were there. So I'm appreciative for them showing up. I think there's some sort of understanding. Like if there's full of staff and then you're not getting service, there's something wrong with that. So I mean, I think like anything else, if you're gonna criticize, you think, well, okay, what's the situation?
Well, if you're going to criticize, first of all, you got to be honest. That's number one. But also, if you are going to criticize, give some suggestions. How can they make that dish better? I mean, there's times I order something and I don't like it, but I know all it needs is something. It needs a little salt, a little bit of extra, a little spice to it or whatever. I know spices. I know what would help it. Same thing with you. And that's nothing wrong with that. That's an opinion. If they make something a little bit bland, but if you ask for them to have their extra sauce that they had that they don't tell you about sometimes, you add it to it, it makes it better. But a lot of people don't do that. It's easy to criticize.
Yeah.
But the idea is for credibility is to let people know I don't like it, but this is why I didn't like it, but this is how you can make it better. And what I do is I always, if I have an issue, I try to find the owner. I've done that all my life, and I've had I've only had one person out of all of them that didn't agree with me and thought, I was full of crap. And, that's his opinion, like I said. But I've also had situations where I had some terrible experience and I tracked down the owner. And over the phone, he was like, well, who the hell are you? I've been doing this for blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, hey, I'm just telling you, it's your money, but something's been going on. Something went on that night, and I'd be concerned. And probably 2 weeks later, he called me and he apologized. It was like, look, little doggy, if you yell at them, their tail goes, they don't look at you. That's the way this guy was on the phone. He was so nice to me and apologized. He went back to his tapes of the kitchen and saw that they weren't following directions, and he was saying I was losing money, but I couldn't figure out why, and you made me look at it. And he thanked me. I saw him in person about a year later, and he thanked me for that, because in all my years I've been doing this, you're the first person that really a lot of times you do things, you see things the same way. You walk into a situation, you see it. You don't see that something's wrong. And that's the way it was. And because that you were honest to me.
Well, plus, if its owner showing up, I think everybody's like, oh, my gosh, I better be on in tip-top shape,
Well, that's the other thing. There's owners, I think, that really don't care about quality. It's all about money. And I really hate to say that hurts. Excuse me. Restaurant owners, it's a marriage. It's a very, 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 very hard job. And maybe when they start out, they think that way. But I just think a lot of people think it's easy money and let's open up a restaurant and get free food, blah, blah, blah. I've heard that so many times. But it's like a marriage. It's really, you almost have to be there every day.
Well, you have to have a passion. You want to do it. You enjoy doing it. I think most of the successful places we've been to and people we've spoken to, they really love the hospitality industry, love making people happy. They love that their customers come back. They love that, their customers tell other people about their restaurants. I mean, it's their love of their, this is their passion, to offer great food for people.
This morning we stopped at a restaurant. We were talking about having them come on the show today, and I didn't say anything to you about this. But she was talking about, I asked her about her business, how long she's been there and stuff. And when she first started, it was all about money. Everything's making the most money, blah, blah, blah. And because of COVID and an illness she had, it made her step away from the business a little bit. And she realized, I've been doing this all wrong. It's all about quality and what do the people want. And money will come. If you do what people want and do it the best they will come. So in a way, she said it was a blessing. It was a major illness she had, but also in terms of COVID, it made her sit down and think and look at things over. A lot of times people come in with ideas one way, and they don't see the reality. They see what they want. And, it's called ego. And a lot of egos don't get them anywhere, or wrong information. And which is fine. It happens to everybody, as long as you're willing to adapt and change. And she said she did change, and guess what? So business is better than ever.
I think that's what it is. If you care, the owners that are actually there all the time, they care about business, they love their business, and they love their customers. You see them excelling. They see them getting better. You see them, growing. Because it's hard work, but they love it. It's, a lot of times you have to put in a lot of hard work for something you love.
Well,
Right?
I'm sure you've entertained, and the feeling you get of entertaining to most people, I would imagine. I mean, I love it. That's why I don't eat when when customers come or customers when friends come or family comes and eat. I'm more concerned that they eat, they have a good time, that service is good, that portions are good, that really quality is good. That's more important to me than anything else. That feeling of when someone says yum, that yummy sound means everything, and that's what it feels like to the owner who really cares, and they take it personally. A lot of people, if something's wrong, they take it very personally. And that's I feel good about that. I mean, things can happen at any given time. I remember one time we had something with a lot of tomatoes in there, and the tomatoes weren't that good, and also fresh fruit was not real sweet. So my then ex-partner way back when complained about the restaurant not serving this, but they don't taste the watermelon. They don't taste it's not their fault. And sometimes things happen and it's not their fault. But I think the restaurants that my friend Eddie, again, he owns Tutamanja and a couple other restaurants. He's been doing that for like 35 years. He takes everything very seriously. You'll meet him one day. And I just feel that's really neat. You had more respect for people like that.
Well, I mean, so since we've been talking about food and talking about your dining out experience, what's your favorite type of food? Like not kind of food, like not I wouldn't say like American, not that. That's too generalized. What's your favorite type of food? What's your favorite dish? You have to pick one dish or two dishes. What's your top two?
Well, I like dishes that excite me. Number one, that's
okay. Well, that's too generalized.
Okay.
So pick two dishes that you really love.
I'm very simple in a lot of ways. I love fried chicken. A good fried chicken, moist and crispy, and
Joe gave me a look. Joe's like, what?
well, fried chicken. Pizza is another thing. I've learned being a judge at the International Pizza Expo. I've learned what a good pizza can do to you. I mean, it just your whole body, like, oh my goodness. So pizza, I think, is amazing.
I think Joe agree on that one.
Yeah. Chinese food. Hot and sour soup. I really like. You get a little bit of little tang to it. It's just it tastes the texture a little bit. It's hard to explain just one. I don't have just one or two. But I just like something that's done right and just wow. I like the wow factor.
Okay.
What about you?
Okay. Ranked up there would be really, really, really fresh seafood. Like sushi, sashimi, I don't care. It's really fresh. It literally melts in your mouth. It's so good. You knew like that probably fish was swimming the minute before. That's how good it is. That's what I love.
Foie gras.
Oh, I love foie gras. So yeah, definitely. You can, as long as not overcooked. Please do not overcook my foie gras.
Not with anything.
That's sad. Well, some people like it cooked, but I don't.
Seriously?
To me, it's like, well, if I'm going to have it fully cooked, I might as well just eat the pate.
Yeah.
Why pay that price for something? Anyways, in a very good steak. One that melts in your mouth and is prepared just right.
And have you had that before?
Oh, yes.
Do you remember where?
Oh, yes.
Probably do. Talk about that one.
I was at this restaurant. They had a flight of different types of beef that the cows were raised with different diets and different I guess they're very relaxed. They get massages every day and they get different diets and you really can taste the difference. I mean, I was so surprised. I thought, oh, this is bull, doohickey, whatever. So I was like, yeah, no way. But I tried it, and it cost an arm and a leg. Went with some friends. Thank God my friends were willing to split with me to go 3 ways. But it was quite a sticker shocker. But I have to say the experience is definitely up there.
Was that the one that was like $60 an ounce or something?
Yeah.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah. Yeah. But it was all different types of beef. Yeah. The cow was eating either different diets.
It's Wagyu, right?
It's Wagyu, different types of Wagyu, and they were eating different types of diet. But they don't ever get stressed because I guess stress to an animal
It
gets
tightens their muscles.
tighten their muscles, so their meat is not as tender. And these cows were actually played music, and they were treated like gold when they were alive. And so you can totally taste the difference. Oh my gosh. What's on the market, the Wagyu steaks that you buy, you can't even come up to compare the quality of these type of meat. It's amazing.
But it's not just meat. I mean, even vegan food. A restaurant called Native Foods in Palm Springs, way back when they first started, they were like the first ones around. I ate there and I was like blown away. It's like a Wolfgang Puck restaurant. I mean, it was that good and that innovative. And who knew 25, 30 years later, guess what? There's restaurants like that.
Yeah. I think they're still around, aren't they? Because
Yeah.
I remember eating their little outlet in LAX when they were still there. I'm not sure if it's still there at the LAX.
They're still around. I think Tanya used to be the owner, and I think she sold out.
Oh, okay.
But
I mean, I like the quality. I mean, I like their concept. It's vegetarian, or plant-based. And so it really gives you a variety of different plant-based flavors, which is neat. But,
Joe, it looks like someone's calling in. Oh. So anyway, but I think just the bottom line is just good food. I know it's not answering your question because I just like good food. That's my number one thing. I like no matter what. I mean, as long as the food's really, really good, the way it's supposed to be. I hate when it says one thing and it's not. You taste it, and it's like, I don't think it's that spicy. I don't taste. I went to one restaurant. I love garlic, and you smell garlic in the restaurant. You're like, wow, that's great. Everything we ate with no garlic, you couldn't even taste the garlic. Yeah, I couldn't figure that out. It was called Garlic Rose for way back in Moreno Valley.
Stinking. Oh, well, there's a stinking
Stinky
rose
rose.
up in Beverly.
Yeah, this is called Garlic Rose.
Oh, okay. All right.
And but you walk in there, and having worked in restaurants, I realize now what they did was they walked around with garlic. They roast garlic in the oven. Then they walk around the restaurant
To perfume
and
the.
that's what they do. They do that with onions and garlic, and it's a trick. So when you walk in, you smell the food, and a lot of times
Well, it gets you hungry, I think, the smell of
it
cooked
sets
food.
the whole tone.
Yeah, tough,
So-
definitely. But you're listening to KCAA 1050 AM and 106.5 FM, the station that leaves no listener behind.
We're on every Saturday from 4 to 5. We have a lot of fun things coming up. Unfortunately, a lot of things have been delayed because people are on vacations or they're sick, or it's one thing after another. We've had a lot of people plan to do different things, and they've had to cancel at the last minute. So that's one of the joys of having a live radio show. You're like, oops. So that's kind of
So you got us.
you got us, yeah. But the main thing is that we want to have fun. That's the main thing. It's not just a serious show. And speaking of serious, there's a lot of serious stuff out there. And but food should be fun, and that's the way I look at it. So anyway, hopefully you'll listen to the Let's Sign Out show every Saturday, 4 to 5, right here again on AM 1050 and 106.5 FM stations. Food critic Allan Borgen.
And Izzy Bussy.
Happy eating, everybody. Take care.
Come in for more information, recreation, and guaranteed fun. KCAA.
Open for takeout and delivery, El Tapiac Mexican food restaurant in the Tri-City Center of Redlands is back. Their entire family is on hand to serve up their delicious burritos, machaca, chorizo, huevos rancheros, steak and eggs, just part of their mouth-watering great food. Since 1531, people have marveled at the miracle of El Tapiac, and now you can marvel at the great food the Lugo family has been serving up for over 2 decades, nestled quietly in the corner of the Tri-City Center shopping mall next to Burlington Coat Factory. Support them. They can't wait to serve you some of their delectable, authentic, south-of-the-border Mexican fare at great prices, served up with love. Support the area's best-loved Mexican food restaurant in these tough times. Order up a tasty meal on the phone for delivery or takeout for breakfast, lunch, or dinner from 10 a.m. to 6 p.m. Call 909-307-0017. That's 909-307-0017. Or Google El Tapiac Redlands and treat yourself.
What does the WeatherBug app tell you?
My commute will be a doozy today.
Pack my allergy meds.
Lightning. Pick up a pizza, not a tennis racket.
With more free map layers than any other weather app, WeatherBug tells you more of what you need to know to prepare you for the unpredictable. Discover why over 10 million users choose WeatherBug.
Maybe it's a commute to the couch day.
Download the WeatherBug app today for free.
This segment is sponsored by PressPrint, Southern California's best full-service union printer and mail house. They offer the lowest prices around with unmatched service and reliability and free delivery throughout SoCal. PressPrint can print anything from letterhead, business cards, and campaign literature to mailers of any size, lawn signs, banners, door hangers, or just about anything you might want. PressPrint promises to save money for you, your business, or your campaign. If you'd like to learn more, contact Mike Kroonbrin at PressPrint 714-399-8708. Get the union bug.
Hi, I'm food critic Allan Borgen, and I'm excited to tell you about Ray's Shanghai Bistro, located next to Redlands DMV on Lagonia in Redlands. Ray's Shanghai Bistro offers the largest and most delicious array of traditional and original Chinese dishes available in the Inland Empire. Some of my favorite dishes are the house-made pot stickers, the crisp pork spare ribs with garlic, their unique spicy lamb with bamboo, the sweet and tangy deep-fried orange peel beef, and the savory basil spicy shrimp, plus lots of vegetarian dishes. Whether you dine in, pick up the food, or have them cater your next party or special occasions, you will see why Ray's, spelled R-U-I', Shanghai Bistro, is truly the best Chinese restaurant in the Inland Empire. Their website is raysshanghaibistro.net. That's raysshanghaibistro.net. RUIS shanghaibistro.net. Happy eating. You won't be disappointed.
Semper Fix-It joins our community and our nation in honoring all our American war veterans who proudly served our country. Let's remember those who fought and sometimes sacrificed their very own lives to secure our freedoms. Let's also remember our troops overseas this 2022. This message courtesy of our good friends at Semper Fix-It in Temecula. They are always working to keep our community moving in a positive direction. For more information, call 951-395-5700.
This segment sponsored by the generous support of the Dream Team. Looking for the keys to something bigger and better? Downsizing or relocating to the perfect spot? Oscar Ramirez from Century 21 Lois Lauer Real Estate and Matt Flores from Secure Choice Lending are here to help you sell or buy with their trusted and experienced knowledge and advice. People are calling Oscar and Matt at 951-751-3249. That's 951-751-3249. Real estate and loan